Well, the Book of Boba Fett was feckin' awesome in the end. Let's talk about why. So the Book of Boba Fett came out recently and I was really excited for it. I really loved the Mandalorian series. It reignited my passion for Star Wars after the terrible debacle that was Star Wars The Last Jedi. I still haven't watched Rise of Skywalker and it's currently 2022. The movie came out, what, 2 years ago? Still haven't bothered watching it. I'm probably never going to watch it because Rian Johnson ruined that part of the franchise. However, Mandalorian restored a bit of faith back in the Star Wars universe. So Book of Boba Fett came around, one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, I was all in. And I got pretty bored pretty quickly. The first couple of episodes were kind of, here we go, it's slow, not a whole lot is happening, there's a lot of setup, and it was kind of weird. And there was some good points, like seeing Boba Fett escape the Sarlacc pit. The whole Sand People stuff was interesting, if not a little strange, because the Sand People were always these big monster characters who didn't, interact with people, apart from, in say, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic video game, which is one of my favorite parts of the video game. But it's interesting seeing this other side, this other people within the Star Wars universe. I also felt in the first couple of episodes, stuff like the music and everything was just a little bit off. It didn't quite feel Star Wars enough. It didn't grab you enough like The Mandalorian did. But then again, The Mandalorian kind of had a slow start as well while they established everything. And then we got to like episode 3 or 4, I believe, when the thugs come along, the street thugs. It's such a weird thing that they added in. You've got these weird kids with these modifications. And okay, that's something new within Star Wars. And I'm always for something all new in Star Wars. But then they go along with these like mopeds, these little scooter bikes, and they're all bright colors, they're all different colors, each one has a different color, they're super bright, they stand out from everything, they stick out like a sore thumb. They very much look like a Disney insert gun. We could sell toys of these. They look like punk rock emo kids in Star Wars on these weird moped bikes. They reminded me very much of the Power Rangers, and I kept referring to them as Power Rangers whenever I was talking to people about the series in real life, not in a video. But beyond that, the series definitely got much better. The setting was cool. Seeing Boba Fett build his team get stronger and stronger, building those alliances, the Rancor, Danny Trejo was in it for 5 minutes. There was a lot of cool stuff happening, a lot of cool little nods here and there to different things. And then comes episode 5, The Return of the Mandalorian. And this episode really highlights what an amazing job they did with the Mandalorian, because straight away with the music coming in, you got the dark saber, you've got the whole Mandalorian outfit, and even just Mando being back and being a badass, it was so cool and it worked so well and really just lit this whole series on fire and took it to a new level. Episode 5 I don't think even had Boba Fett in it, but it was awesome. He got this new ship, the one from Phantom Menace, because everybody's favorite Star Wars, but they revamped what looked like and possibly could have been Anakin's ship from episode 1, plus the little Easter egg of the other new little robot that the woman had who's running around, which is the same robot from the most recent Star Wars game, which has me questioning that woman's relationship to the main character of the more recent Star Wars game, which I always forget the name of, Star Wars something. Fallen Order, that's it. Lead character from Fallen Order. It's questioning my relationship between the woman with all the robots and him, possibly his mother, possibly some relation to him, and that's why she has the same droid that he had. It's a fairly specific droid, so we might see a character from the video game pop up in one of the series in the not too distant future. That would be pretty damn cool. The next episode, episode 6, is when we got to see Grogu again. I believe it was episode 6. This was really cool. The CGI on Luke was much better. Still not perfect. In fact, even there's one scene where Luke is like jumping across stones, and I'm pretty sure the mask dropped and you could see the actual actor rather than the CGI Luke. With the CGI stuff, it's not quite perfect. Even there was like a synthesized voice that wasn't quite perfect too, but I think you can forgive a lot of the dodginess with it because you can get immersed in the story and because it fits the story. But also seeing like Ahsoka and Luke in the same place, I believe that's the first time we've seen that within the main timeline of Star Wars, which is pretty damn cool. Seeing R2-D2 back and he's not in retirement like he was in The Last Jedi, which was weird. And then of course you see Grogu, and the choice Grogu is left with at the end of episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, not episode 6, the movie. The choice just leaves you on an amazing cliffhanger. One that I sat up at and went, you bastards. I had to wait a whole week for the next episode. I just absolutely loved it. It was phenomenally done. But then comes episode 7, the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett season 1. Everything's in place. Boba has his team. We know who the bad guys are now, and everything kicks off. And slowly things start going wrong. Kind of similar to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. Now it's nowhere near that good, but there was a lot of deception and just things going wrong. They made it look like the Wookiee was dead. They made it look like everybody had turned on Boba. It was only Boba and Mando left at one stage. Everybody else is pinned down, and it looked like they were going to have to just give it all, go out and just shoot everybody and hope for the best. Luckily, a distraction came along. One of the most irritating characters in Star Wars since Jar Jar Binks. On top of that, I'm completely forgetting it right at the start of the episode, Grogu comes along in the X-Wing and he's got his chainmail on. He's clearly made his choice, and it's a mind-blowing choice that he said no to the Force and gone with Mando instead. And Luke kind of went, go away then. R2-D2 will drop you off. He's a taxi now. And of course, Grogu's going to come into play later on, but the whole battle scene was so well done. The battle lasted almost the entire episode, and so much happened, from Cad Bane appearing at first, the Rancor part, so many twists and turns, the Wookiee coming back, all this stuff, the people of Freetown coming along. And now Freetown is the one thing in the series that makes me go, hang on a minute. What are you talking about? Because I don't think anywhere in Star Wars has felt less Star Wars than Freetown. They've all these weird names like Coruscant and all these different cities. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think there's been a town, like a name of a town. For instance, I live in Wexford Town here in Ireland. In Star Wars, there hasn't been many other towns under names as far as I know. It's very un-Star Warsy. It seems like very poor writing to come up with a name of Freetown. I believe their town was called Mos Pelgo. They could have gone Free Pelgo or Pelgo Free or something to that effect. But Freetown is so generic and so weird and so un-Star Wars. It was really distracting for me for a little moment. It's one of my minor gripes with the whole series. I guess Rian Johnson must have written that part. Definitely seems Rian Johnson-y. And ultimately they were left in a place with Cad Bane facing off with Boba Fett, which has a lot of history within Star Wars if you watch the animated series and everything. Even in episode 6, when they introduced Cad Bane, that was so damn cool. When he's slowly walking up, like in a Western, and he's slowly revealed, it had me going, there's no way that's Cad Bane. Surely not. The guy from the Clone Wars who was so elusive, gave Obi-Wan so much trouble. It was so cool seeing him in a live action thing. I really loved that. And in the final battle with Boba, when it could have gone either way, and we end up in a point with Cad Bane standing over Boba, taking his helmet off. He's just about to pull the trigger, and how amazing would it have been? Maybe there's something wrong with me for always wanting the bad guy to do this, but in this scenario, I felt it would have been super amazing if Cad Bane pulled the trigger, because Book of Boba Fett could have been a one-off. This could have been the final chapter of Boba, how he's finally killed by a master assassin. It could have gone either way. Now, I'm sure there's loads of people saying it was really cool that Boba was the one who won, but kind of predictable. I don't think anyone would have seen Cad Bane actually pulling the trigger and actually killing Boba being the thing. And then you could have had Mando come along and maybe see it, know that Cad Bane is the one who killed Boba. That gives Mando a reason to go after Cad Bane in the next season. And it also would have further established for people who didn't already know how much of a badass Cad Bane was. However, they went the other way. They had to use the whole gaffy stick training from previous episodes, so Boba gets the win, and ultimately we end up with happy families. Although they did kind of plant the seed with Cad Bane saying, what's your play here? You're a killer. We know what you really are. Kind of plant the seed that Boba is still a bad guy. So have we seen a slight twist, a little turn in Boba, ultimately maybe going to have Boba against Mando at some point? We'll wait and see. But although the series started off slow, took a long time to get going, when it finally did, and mainly when Mandalorian came back, that's when the series blew up and got exceptionally good. You've also got the scene right at the end when, Grogu is knocking on the window with the little ball thing. It's really funny if you haven't seen that part. He wants Mando to go into hyperdrive, so he goes flying back. It's fucking hilarious. And then there was the post-credits scene, which also sets up some interesting events further down the line. And I really can't wait for Mandalorian Season 3. And the good news is, the rumor is, Mandalorian Season 3 is coming out December this year, 2022. Cannot wait for that. But furthermore than that, we won't have to wait that long for more Star Wars, because yesterday it was announced that Kenobi, well, actually, for you, it's the day before yesterday, 2 days ago from when I'm posting the video. It was announced that Kenobi is coming out on the 25th of May, 2022, which interestingly is the same date the first Star Wars movie came out. That also came out on the 25th of May. Very interesting timing. And it's a series I'm really looking forward to because what they're going to do, how they're going to add to Kenobi's story and keep it interesting is interesting. They're kind of limited in what they can do. They can't really have Luke Skywalker as Luke Skywalker in it. They can maybe have him looking over a young Luke. Even the whole Hayden Christensen stuff being back will be interesting to see how they integrate him, because don't forget, Darth Vader has his helmet and everything at this stage. So possibly there's going to be a lot of flashbacks. Will Ahsoka be in it? There's so many questions to be answered. And if you love Star Wars, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan because there's so much content coming out and it's all pretty damn awesome once Rian Johnson stays away from it. And hopefully that'll be the case for a long, long time because fuck Rian Johnson.